Welcome to the show, Peter M. Smith. You are an actor, singer, songwriter, and guitarist, starring and presenting in a variety of TV and film productions, including Guy Ritchie in The Grave and Netflix series Who is Erin Carter. There's all sorts of things I want to talk about with you. I know at the minute you're doing a film with Jason Figures in Spain as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and please do tell us more.
You're very welcome, Tom. I'm in The Grey, which comes out next year. I think he did three films in the space of, I don't know, 18 months, as well as his series. So,
Really,
yeah, what a pleasure it was to work with him, definitely.
absolutely.
Now you're also a singer.
I am, well, I started off, Skyler, I started off in musical theatre.
Okay.
Because I studied acting, but, I always kind of got involved in the music stuff at school, and then I went to study it, and then kind of got my break doing pantomime and did the national premiere of Fame in Cork in Ireland before I went off to ITV and did some work for them on their Pop Stars The Rivals way back in 2003. So I kind of started on the stage, started with a theatre background, fell into music for a few years. As you well know, when you get into the business of selling records, it kind of sweeps you away in the
Yeah.
politics of it, and you kind of forget to enjoy it. And I always had one eye on going back to see it serious theatre and serious kind of making films and making series and things like that. I've been lucky enough to get back to what I love, but music certainly was a huge part of my life. Definitely was.
What do you mean was?
Yeah, I knew you were going to pick up on that because it always will be. And listen, I loved what I did. I worked with Duran Duran. We worked with Roger Taylor on it. We were kind of diving into the beginning of that electro pop phase. That we were a little bit too poppy to be accepted for being pioneers in that, but we certainly did. We wrote some of the first electrophonic revolution, which was a number one in South Africa, did very well in Europe, and we had four top 20 singles in the UK off that album. It was very much one of the first electro pop albums, along with the Gold Rap album, and just before the Scissor Sisters album. It wasn't cool to associate us because we were very much like a young Duran Duran, but don't do the crime if you can't do the time. I really enjoyed it. I wrote 7 of the songs in the album. I stand by them. And, the production company that I'm part of now, I met my partner in that production company on the acting side of things because I was in that band. As you well know, Skylar, from your time in the Commodores and all those hits, there's a lot of people that you would have been hanging around with way back at the end of the 70s and the beginning of the 80s that are still very important to your career today. So I never be ashamed of what you did. I'm really proud of everything I did, and now it's standing to me. I've been blessed. I've been very blessed.
You'll never get rid of music, man. I don't care how many times you get in front of a camera. If the band strike up, you right there.
It's true, because even the man who owned the location. We shot this recent film with Jason Figgis, the great Jason Figgis, one of the upcoming amazing directors and screenwriters out of the UK and Ireland. The locations we chose, big location down in Almeria. I know the man, fortunately enough, and he was like, he knew who some of the cast were. And he was like, wow, that guy used to be a great singer. Bring down instruments and we will have a big rap party. It follows you, Skyler.
I love Ireland. My grandmother was from Ireland.
Wow.
Is it okay for us to print this? We're going to put this in a magazine in Ireland.
Of course, man. Of course. Listen, at the end of the day, it's all out there in the public domain anyway. So we don't hide, do we, Skyler?
You got to get as many people to know who you are.
Damn right. No, listen, it's a journey. There's so much going on, Skyler. I know there's a lot going on for yourself, Tom, and everything in the background from what I've heard. I'm just grateful for the journey. I'm in my 40s now. I feel good. It's a good time. I've been very blessed with some of the opportunities that I've had. I've worked with some of the best actors and directors in the world, and I work with some of the best musicians. So you have to celebrate that thing. Those things. You can't hide from those.
I just want to ask a little bit more because we weren't able to talk too much with we had Jason on the show very recently, actually. Just a little bit more about the film that you've done with him and what the film's called and what's it about.
Yeah, the working title was Days and Nights in Andalusia because we spent most of our days and nights in Andalusia, but the film is going to be called The Andalusia Contract. It's a story about a professional military officer who's drafted in basically to save a woman who's been targeted by members of the underworld through her connections, obviously, to her husband, to save herself and her son basically from a home invasion by
Wow.
professional contract killers, all ex-military. The story starts in and around how that all comes about, who her husband is and how influential he is, and how the whole thing gravitates around him.
Mm.
And then basically what my character does to try to essentially save her life. It's a really character-driven piece,
That's great.
and I was really attracted to it because I know Jason's writing. I've watched some of his stuff before, and I've read some of his synopses, and it's always intensely character-driven stuff with Jason. I mean, he's a genius. He knows how to satisfy an audience, how to make a satisfying picture, but also that what's important is that the audience needs to understand who these characters are in order to buy into them. So I think everyone's going to have a good time. I'm looking forward to it. We just wrapped on our part. I guess that'll be in the can certainly by the end of the summer. Hopefully edited, and then next year it'll all be released into the public domain. So
Wow.
I'm looking forward to that.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
One of these times, man, when you're doing a film, shoot, they don't know you can sing.
That's it. I'm gonna bring that out. Oh, by the way, I sing, so I'm just gonna do a scene with some singing involved. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, man, imagine he's singing the theme song for the movie too.
Oh, there's all sorts
Tom,
of
you look like a singer. You look
That's
like a singer,
cheese.
Tom.
That's
so
some
many
cheese.
possibilities.
I sang on the theme song for the Titanic with Celine Dion, right? We had no clue how big that record was going to be.
Mm.
It's incredible, right? They're still making money from that song. People will make, it's like the music of Freddie Mercury. His relations will make money from that music, and they won't even know who he is.
That's right.
That's it.
And the beautiful thing about music, it's going to be here long after we're gone.
Hell yes.
You'll be touching people's hearts, with the lyrical content that you create. What's your feelings about social conscious music?
I think it's important. I think I'm always of the view that, who we are, what makes us tick as people, and our life experiences and the experience of our ancestors. I'm not one of these people who thinks that we should forget. I remember years ago reading a book about Steve Biko, about the whole idea of Black consciousness. And it's not about holding on to bitterness, it's about awareness. And I think for me, raising awareness so people don't forget. The minute we lose awareness of who we are and what our journey was, that's when history has a danger of repeating itself. If we lose that edge of consciousness, we then slip into the world of that was all mythical, maybe it didn't happen. And you can see the rising of this dragon on the right-hand side, trying to convince us that those things never happened. So no, I'm all for the maintaining of spiritual and historical consciousness and its effect on the dynamic between us as races, as people, regardless of the differences between us. We must be conscious of what the journey has been so far.
And what do you think about music spreading the message?
Music is a gift from the heavens. It was God's way of communicating through his angels to humans on a level that they could comprehend, because we can't comprehend as human beings the language of God. We have to be standing before him one day. Please God, we're all standing there, and then we'll comprehend how he communicates. But for now, through the ages, I believe that music has been the vessel, because music is no accident. It's no invention. It's a way to speak on something that would take years to explain to a person in 3 minutes.
That's a good way.
For me, it's that important.
Yeah. You can get that many stories out in 3 minutes, then it'll tell you so many things in one song that you couldn't really, you'd have to be talking to somebody for ages to get that point across, and you can do it in a song in 3 minutes or less.
I'll give you an example, and you hit the nail on the head there, Tom. I was sitting in my garden the other day. I was tired, but we were having a barbecue. I live in Spain, and there's an old Spanish artist called Julio Iglesias. Now,
yes,
he's not the typical kind of vibe that you, me, Skyler would listen to, but it means something to me because I remember my grandmother and my mother taking tapes back home to Spain when I was a small child. From Spain to Ireland and listening to Julio Iglesias. And there was one song called Hey. And I hadn't heard that song since I was about 8 or 9. And for whatever reason, when it started to play on the Spotify, I could feel the tears in my eyes. I don't know why. And in my mind, I can't picture why. But I know it was because it reminded me of several moments that, with people in a room, my grandmother, to be honest with you, that I'll never see again. Yeah. And that's a message. Those things are messages. They're spiritual messages. They're photographs. that you don't have to see for 30 years, which it had been 30 years since I'd heard that song. I hear the song and immediately all of this feeling that took a lifetime to build up comes back in an instant. And that's why we become overcome with emotion, because it all pours in like a dam bursting open. As human beings, we compartmentalize everything, our memories, our experiences, and our feelings. And music is a great key to unlocking all of this stuff. So music is the essence, if you will. It's a key to spiritualism, in my view, in my opinion.
Music is emotion.
Hell yes, absolutely.
I mean, and, I used to tell people, I say, okay, take a guy that plays blues, right? And then he's about to go on stage and you step on his foot. The blues gonna sound a little different tonight.
Yeah. Crank up that pain. I mean, and those boys, those boys were in tune. Think of Robert Johnson. Think of what his influence was. Where was he hearing stories? He was hearing stories about slaves and about oppression and about real hardship. He put it down in those chords. He understood what pain was, because when you hear a story from your grandfather firsthand, it's like a tattoo on your soul.
All over the world, though, me moving to this side over here from the States, I'm looking at all the instruments from my travels, going to different countries, the little kids back home have never seen these instruments or heard them before. Now, what if they go and put their beat to that? All you got to do is lock in the lyrics and a melody, right? So that's music for global change for me. I want people to collaborate with each other all over the world. And now we got the internet. There's nothing stopping us.
Yeah. And the gift, it was tested during COVID, which was a terrible thing, but it brought people together on a different level. When people realized how important human contact actually was, musicians started to reach out to each other,
Man, the other thing, like a lot of people say a lot of people, they go in their garage and they're working on something, that they invent. And man, shoot, I'm gonna get paid off of this one day because I invented this and I ain't gotta work for somebody no more, right? And they out there, they working on this. Well, when COVID happened, now they're at home. You ain't got no more excuses, right? And then they finish it up, and now they got people buying it. They go, why should I go back to work? I'm working for myself now. That's what happened. I wrote a lot of songs, man, because I couldn't go nowhere, right? Like I got a song coming out right now, man. The drummer lives in Germany, the guitar player and the bass player, they in Australia, right? I got a brother from Ghana, he's playing keyboards on there. I got a sister from Salzburg, she's playing on there, and another brother from Switzerland. They're all playing keyboard parts, right? And no, I'm doing stuff like that's music for global change for me, man. I mean, you know what I mean? Like to bring all kind of musicians together. What the cool thing about it is like, I don't know all your fans, but you have the power to go, hey guys, I want you to meet my new American friend, Skyler and I, we collaborating. Well, what you just introduced me to people I never would have known.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I go and introduce you to that's what we have now that we didn't have before.
Yeah, absolutely. And an understanding of how important connection is, because we were so connected, then we disconnected. Technology disconnected us. Then, ironically, we use technology to reconnect us again. It's that simple. We know how important it is.
And we can write songs together, though.
Absolutely.
I'm taking singers over there and introduce them to producers in Europe and different places, and you guys collaborate, right? And you could do it right on Skype, whatever you want, you right? We couldn't do that before. Now this opens up a whole new fan base.
Exactly. And that's a blessing. People want new experiences. They want them. They want them, they want to hear new, especially with the quality that, you guys are capable of, and, with your pedigree. There's a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to hear that again. Because I think people look back now. There's an awful lot of stuff going on now that, maybe it's not of the best quality because it's not coming from a pure place. But, all the music that you were involved in comes from a pure place, and it makes people instantly feel good. And it makes people connect right back to things that they want to connect to again.
That's why the Motown era was so big, because the music made people feel good. even though we got the Vietnam War going on, it took your
Mm.
mind off of it a little bit, right? And we can affect things like that. Like I'm going after racism. That's the most stupidest thing in the history of
Mm.
mankind. So, you know what I mean? And I do believe that there are more people that want to get along than people that don't. So at least that, that's something good for it. Let's keep that part going, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's everything. In times of adversity, in times of trouble and challenge. Sometimes when I feel challenged, I put on Marvin Gaye and I sit down and I think, yeah, I'm connected again. I'm connected to what's important, you know?
Wow. You so because I mean he was my hero. It was the young people that stopped that war.
Yeah.
And a lot of it came from music, right?
Mm.
Listen, brother, you know what? So what we want to do is push what you're doing. And I want to push the singing side of you because I heard you sing. So, I'm only saying, right? And I hope you write a social conscious song, man. And
Yeah, man.
I hope it becomes you in the movie, and I hope it becomes the theme of the movie.
One of these movies, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I got a lot of work coming up, please. Thank God. And yeah, listen, there's a lot of things that music will always come back. I'm getting a lot of action roles, but music will always come back. It will always take its place.
And they're two separate things. That's the cool thing, right?
Mm.
I mean, people go out just to see music play. But when you put vocals with music, it take precedence, you know what I mean? And then for me, it's just all about the lyrical content. I want something that's going to heal, educate, and solve problems. You know what I mean? Everybody can talk about themselves. So that's easy. I'm not just an advocate, right? I write and produce this stuff too.
No, I know. I know. I know.
Just want to ask how people can see what it is you're up to, firstly, but also what's next for you? What have you got on the cards coming up?
Yeah, if people want to have a look at what I've done, have a look on Netflix. So if you just search for Who is Erin Carter, it was the #1 streamed TV show of 2023. 7 episodes. My big episode is episode 4. I play not a nice guy, a killer. So it was a lot of fun. Then coming up, I'm obviously got the Guy Ritchie movie In the Grey, which comes out I think in March 2025. So
yeah,
less than a year from now. These times go by. Just wrapped on the Andalusian Contract, which is my 4th lead role. Just about to start filming in August on another one. But I think that's a short film, so I think you'd have to see that at festivals and certainly online. And I've got some other bits and pieces coming up to be confirmed. If you want to have a look at the music history, I suppose have a look at if you look at the band that I was in. So if you Google Fix, PHIXX, have a look at all that stuff. And also on Spotify, have a look at the rock band that I founded about 6 or 7 years ago. No, a bit more, called Sonic Brother, SONIC Brother. So it's very heavy rock stuff. I've had to step away from music because acting is kind of growing legs of its own. But it's what I love. And as Skyler said, there's music in all of us. You always get pulled back into the music.
Oh, thanks for joining us, Peter. It's great to have you with.
And good luck with it. It's very important to any kind of change in 2024 when everybody else is trying to just go with the flow. When you're advocating for change is the bravest thing. Any support you need, we will be there. I'm there. Myself, Fran, Jason, the whole crew. We've got some heavy hitters behind us. Anything you need, we'll only be happy to do it.
Much love, brother. Thank you so much. What a blessing, brother. Right on, Jason. Thanks for hooking me up with Tom and I up with this beautiful brother.
He is the man. He is the man. Keep at it, boys. It's very important. The message that you're giving to the world, the energy you're putting out to the world, is needed now more than ever.
Bless up.
Peace out.
Music can save the world. 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 If we all get together, music can save the world.